There's a couple hard things we need to remember when looking at conditions, and these sentences will help demonstrate just some of the ways conditions and thinking about time can get tricky. And so these are good examples of how we have to slow down and think exactly how actions fit together to decide whether or not tenses are conditional statements are simple or counterfactual, and then what tenses need to occur in those different statements to get the right meaning across. Once again, these are interesting to think about in English because we don't spend a lot of time, especially if you're a native speaker of English, thinking about how these statements work. You just use them. So let's start at the beginning and just talk through a couple of them. If I see it, then I will believe that /it. You can just decide exactly what you want to use there. I'm just going to use id. I see it, then I believe it. And then we have to ask ourselves simple questions. First of all, is this a simple condition or counterfactual? Well, there's no would, so it's a simple condition. What are the tenses? When are they occurring? I will believe that gives us future. Remember, simple conditions in the future are called future more vivid. We just got a future indicative. I will believe that. And then the question we have to ask ourselves: if I see it, what is the relationship between the two times? Does the seeing have to occur significantly before the believing? Are the two directly connected? Seeing and believing occur at the same time? How do we want to express this idea? So when I think of a sentence, if I see it, then I will believe it, I think that the seeing and believing occur at the same time. You're seeing it, you're processing it, you're believing it at the same time. You don't have to see something and then go home and then think about it for a while. Why is this important? Because one of those will use a future indicative and one of those will use a future perfect indicative. If the action clearly occurs before the main clause, we need future perfect in that if clause. Here, I think we can just use two futures. So let's put that into Latin. If I see it. Once again, we're just using futures here. So video, I can type videbo if I see it. Then I will believe it, or that. So we're just going to keep it there. So believe, let's use credam for believe. And my computer does not like id. There we go. Si videbo id, credam id. If I will see it, I will believe it. If I see it, I will believe it. They're occurring at the same time. Next sentence. If he goes to Rome, he will stay a long time. So once again, same kind of question. Is this a simple condition? Is this counterfactual? We don't have would. It's a simple condition. We see the word will. We know it's future more vivid. We're in the future indicative. Let's think about this. He will stay a long time if he goes to Rome. All right, here, clearly, he went to Rome first, then he remained a long time. Since this very clearly occurs before this, they aren't happening at almost the same time or close to the same time, we're going to use a future perfect here. So he will stay a long time. We'll start with he will stay a long time. Deu is a long time. He will stay. Maneo, so manebit. He will stay a long time. If he goes to Rome, we're going to Rome, so we're going to make sure that's in the accusative, remember, direction. Since it's a city, town, small island, we don't need the preposition odd, otherwise make sure you have it. If he goes to Rome, so then we need to go third principal part, future perfect, ero, eris, erit, si Roman iuerit, deu manebit. If he goes to Rome, if he will have gone to Rome, he will remain a long time. And once again, if you want to just translate these very literally, once you're moving from Latin into English, you're totally fine doing that. No one's going to ever say, don't say if he will have gone to Rome. It's just in English, we have to really think about how these concepts translate into Latin. Latin is much pickier with how tenses function. In English, we just move a lot of these future ideas into the present. If he goes, if I see. And Latin's really distinguishing what the relation is between the two clauses in a way that English is a little more ambiguous. All right, next sentence. If he had gone to Rome, he would not be here. So immediately we look through this, we say, okay, would, we're in counterfactual. He would not be here now. Okay, this is present contrafactual. So we're expecting were in this first clause, but we get over here and we see if he had gone. Had's indicating past contrafactual. Notice how we mixed the two together. The nice thing about these mixed conditions, if something is simple, it will just be simple all the way through. Both halves of the condition will be indicative. If something is contrafactual, both sides of the condition will be subjunctive. So we're just mixing tenses in ways that make sense. We're not mixing up the two different kinds of conditions. So mixed conditions in a way aren't really any harder than simple conditions. Just pay attention to the tense. Is the tense indicating something occurring in the future, something occurring in the present, or something occurring in the past? And make sure it matches. Once again, we only have those three tenses we use. Future uses present subjunctive. Imperfect and imperfect subjunctive inside conditions is the present, and the pluperfect shows these past contrafactual actions. So we can just go through that and figure that out. So he had gone, past contrafactual. He would not be, present contrafactual. We need a pluperfect subjunctive for had gone, and would not be. We need this nice present contrafactual. Alright, so if he had gone to Rome, past contrafactual, he reset. I'll put Rome on them up front in nice order. Make sure I get rid of my typos here. If he had gone to Rome, he would not be here. So hic for here, non esset hic. Often you'll see words like nunc to really emphasize the time difference. If he had gone to Rome then, now he would not be here. But this implies the exact same kind of thing. Pluperfect, past contrafactual in the first part, imperfect subjunctive, present contrafactual in the second. So, let's look at two other sentences. If I had bought a horse, I would be in Rome now. So we got the same kind of thing. Would be contrafactual, I would be in Rome now. We have our now word indicating this really present idea. I would be in Rome now. Present contrafactual in the second part. If I had bought a horse, past contrafactual in the first. So past contrafactual uses pluperfect subjunctive. If I had bought, isam, isas, isat. Remember, pluperfect subjunctive endings. If I had bought a horse, equum. And that gives us our nice if I had bought a horse, past contrafactual. Now, I would be in Rome. Present contrafactual uses imperfect subjunctive. Now I would be at Rome. We'll use our nice locative case there. Si equum amisem nungesem Romae. If I had bought a horse in the past, now would be in Rome. If I learn Latin well now, I will remember it forever. Now, once again, this is an interesting thing to think about. If I learn Latin well now, it looks like a present tense. I will remember it forever. Definitely got a future. We don't have would, so we know it's a simple condition. So then we have to ask ourselves, if I learn Latin well now, what are we trying to express? Are we expressing a future perfect? If I will have learned Latin well now, I will remember it forever. Or are we really trying to stress a present nature of the condition? If I am learning Latin well now, in the future, I will remember it forever. Once again, you can start seeing some of the difficulty and nuance that's possible with some of these conditions. As I think through this right now, I think I like future perfect better, so let's go with that. Now, once again, if you wanted to make an argument, you'd have to go through and decide exactly what you wanted to put, but both ideas will communicate clearly what you're going for. So, I will remember it forever. Remembering is great. one of our favorite words. Probably not one you remember. You've probably only seen it like once in the book. But memoro, memory, is a nice verb to remember. Memoro, memorare. So I will remember. We already said memoro, memorare first. Memoro. Bo. I will remember it sempre, always. What are we remembering? We're remembering Latin. Linguam Latinam, we'll just do eam for it. Alright, I will remember it always, sempre eam memorabo, if I learn it well now. Alright, so if we're going to put this in future perfect, I will have learned Latin well now. We can do linguam, let's put it this way. Linguam Latinam. Bene. Alright. So, disco, discere, dedici. So, if we do dedicero. If now I will have learned Latin well, I will always remember it. And there you go. And once again, if you really want to emphasize the present, if I am learning Latin well now, you could decide to put this in the present and just put disco. Once again, it's really, what are you stressing? The process occurring now, or if I will have done this in the past, I will in the future remember it always. What relationship are we trying to talk about? That's really up to you. I hope this helps make sense a little bit. It really just requires thinking through a couple of different rules and processing in English what's happening in a way we're not really used to. But communicating isn't all that hard. So just keep practicing. Pay attention. Once again, biggest thing I want you to pay attention to is the would. Is it contrafactual or is it simple? And then remembering those tenses of the subjunctive to try and get some of the nuance, and we can keep practicing the rest.